Hello, so it says I'm live, so hopefully you can see and hear me. I'm just going to get this adjusted and get the hood done up. Hopefully I don't overheat, but should be quite an interesting experiment I'm going to do in a minute. So if you look at the title of the stream, you'll see it says Safe Coffee Can Filter Stream, because the Chinese coffee can filter I've ordered, which is a brand new one, came. Hello to you. Hello, not this. There's also something else I want to try in a minute. I want to get the flare out and see, wearing the mask with this hood, how well it stops the heat getting out. Hello, FBI agent. Let me just get this as tight as it's going to go with the MM1. There we are. No, it's not technically an NBC suit, Michael. It's a cold weather suit, but it is water resistant, probably not waterproof, and it's elasticated. So it'd certainly work better than nothing for NBC stuff. No, in this one I've attached the Chinese one, which is, I think, just called a PA... No, this one's not an A3, is it? It's a PE3 filter, as in particulate-free, acidic gas-free. So other than that, yeah, it will fit a GP5 because it's Chinese. So as you can see, it's on the MM1. I can demonstrate it works. Hang on, if I get my hand in the right place. There we go. So yeah, it's tight to a GOST mask. You can get these in either vapor, inorganic vapor, acid gas like this one, or ammonia. That was about £10 from eBay, but I imagine from Wish or somewhere like that you can get them cheaper. So what I wanted to do in a sec was check this one and see how well with the flare this will actually trap heat. So let me just get this on and set up. Okay, at the moment it's set to black hot, so if that will focus... You can see that the suit's preventing heat from escaping well, which is its job, especially if I can line the flare up with the camera properly. Yeah, I'm not very hot on the thermal there, which is nice. Ah, cool, yeah, so you can get my AliExpress as well. Let me just change the colour palette a second. Let's see what iron looks like on it. So yeah, not loads of heat's coming out because that's not a really hot colour. Let's change the palette again. Right, red and white are the hottest colours on this one. So, if I get that lined up, as you can see, there's a little bit of red and white on there, but for the most part, it's like a blue colour, which means not very hot. So the suit is doing a good job of trapping the heat. It's showing up on my head there where the heat's getting through. But the interesting thing is the flare template for the thing is nowhere near as obvious as it would be for a normal person. Just put another template on there. Colour wheel, there we go. So that's red and blue are fairly cold on colour wheel. White, sort of the yellow colour's the hot one. So you see on the voice diaphragm, you can see a bit there. See a bit also where the hood's not quite tightened fully of the mask. Yeah, I just thought that'd be quite interesting. I think it might be called a TF1 filter. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can use a flare as night vision. Right, cool. Let's get this off and then I'll show it you. Also means I can drink coffee if I take this off. So yeah, you're meant to use these with a hose. I just decided not to. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because it seems to help YouTube share them. So I'll show you all the labels on it. If it focuses. So TFA, it says, PE free, so that's like ABEC kind of rating. And on that label, it says it weighs 0.55 kilos, so 550 grams. The date on it is 2019-05-11, so I guess that was the production date, unless it's the bit which is 2009, but as it was brand new, I'd assume that's the production date there. There's another bit where it says 2009, but I don't know if that's a serial number. But anyway, yeah, it's working, and it made a hiss when I opened it. But yeah, you can see this obviously isn't the retro style coffee can filters, because if you look in the bottom, looks nothing like the old Soviet designed ones, and the top looks nothing like the old Soviet designed ones. Right, respirators to recommend under £40. Right, let me have a think. So S10s if you're lucky enough to find them under 40, and FM12s if you're lucky enough to find them under 40, but bear in mind often they're not under 40. If you get a Polish MP5 in good condition, it's under 40 that. Draeger M65s if they fit you under 40. Israeli 4A1s and M15s again if you see them for sale under £40. It's a flare camera, so it can see in the dark, but it sees heat as in thermal things. So I was checking how well this was blocking the heat, and it was doing a good job again. That's an MM1, Mr. Who I had on just then. I'm glad you liked the video, Charlotte. Yeah, GP5s are very basic, but they're cheap. But yeah, any GP5s, Polish MC1s, Czech CM3s, GP5Ms, like the Polish OM14s, MUAs. There's loads of like Soviet and Warsaw Pact masks that you can get pretty cheap. As in finding the kids' masks. Yeah, I don't know how common they are, because obviously the Israeli children's mask is like a smaller variant of the 4A1, but I've obviously never tried to buy one. I think it depends sometimes. Yeah, if you want to see it, it's a flare. I've done videos on it, forward-looking infrared, and yeah, it can be used for night vision, but its job is it sees heat, so it doesn't see light. So basically, the hotter something is, the different colors it shows up on in the flare. You know, like, so basically traditional thermal cameras, I'm sure you've seen footage from like helicopters where you can see flares. Sadly, I don't think you're going to ever get night vision under £50 unless you're really lucky and find a second-hand one like I lucked out on recently on eBay. The one I got recently on eBay was this one, which actually works really well. But this is an unknown Russian one. But yeah, I'll turn it on with the cover on, and you can obviously see through it. But it's got that cover on. That's the only little bit of light it's letting through, because you can't put night vision on like this in a bright room, because it will just burn the optics out. I got mine for 400 hidden, but they're about 600 normally, because the problem is with flares is they're not like, you know, mainstream technology in a sense. What is my next video going to be about? They'll be on Wednesday. All right, Richard, that's why I put this on today. I thought rather than having the heating on, I'd put this on for the stream, and I was demonstrating it with the flare earlier to show that, yeah, it did work pretty well at trapping the heat. How cold? Don't know. I've not looked at the thermostat. My room is 19 degrees. Outside is probably like 8 degrees, I imagine. So that's not cold in terms of how cold it will go in the UK, but it's enough to make you feel chilly. Obviously, if you're in Finland or whatever, that will be a warm temperature for you. Whereas for somebody in Australia, that would be like super cold. B-Store sells them, Iron Man, but he sent these to me for free. But if you look on his eBay page, I think a lot of them are like £60 or £70, depending on the model. But they're like one of the things I've said before that I definitely pay that price for, because that's for the trousers as well. I've only got the top bit on at the moment. But because it's elasticated and really comfortable, these are like the best cold weather things I've ever found so far. I mean, there's probably stuff that's better than these, but in terms of, you know, being like, to show you what's inside. I don't know if you saw it on the video the other day. It's like a combination of fleece inside. It's also got quilted stuff inside. But yeah, they're very good for trapping heat. I've never got any respirators on it. See, I've never even looked for them. Sadly, I do not have a Canadian C4. I wish I did. M45s are expensive, Eric, because I'm in, you've got a picture of a Columbine shooter, haven't you, on there? But in terms of how much they'd be in the US, I don't know. I know they're really expensive. I've never seen an M45 for sale over here, but I know they're a lot even in the US. Cheers, Iron Man. What I want to do is actually do a video with this outside in the cold with the flare on, because the nice thing is, because this has got camo on it, and it hides you from the flare, it should be really good in camo tests. Let me check, feeling good for you, what my next video is about, because I don't actually know without checking, because they're scheduled. Well, the problem with getting a lot of those Russian helmets is you'd have to make sure you're getting them from a valid source, because a lot of the time people sell those, you know, where they're like replica ones. Right, so it's the 29th today, isn't it? So on the 1st of November, there's a video on the Chinese MF1A gas mask. I think there'll be one tomorrow, which will be the 30th. Yeah, the Maglite LED upgrade video is on tomorrow. So, you know, getting a Maglite, putting the LED bulb in it and that sort of stuff. Is that a particular brand of camo? Hidden Shadow, let me have a look. Let's have a look. Cryptic Camo. Ah, yeah. I know the one, don't they do one called, what's the name of it? Let's see if I can find a picture of it, because there's one of those cryptic camos I really like the color palette of. Is it Mandrake or something like that? I can't see it on here, but there's one called Mandrake, which is like a green one. I really like those, if that's the thing. Talking about camo at the moment. If you get one that was built properly, yes, feeling good. Unfortunately, mine is good other than the fact they didn't glue the valves properly. So what I'm going to have to do at some point is scrape all the old glue off and re-glue it. Cheap pair of gloves. I mean, marigolds, as in, you know, like washing up gloves, they'd be good enough, especially if you double layered them. Actual, like, medical gloves wouldn't be good enough because certain chemicals will eat through those pretty quickly. But you can sometimes buy surplus NBC gloves for like a couple of quid. No, sadly, I'd have to get the foul down, and the sword fell down the other day when I tried to take it down for people, so it's there on the wall. Oh yeah, I saw that survive. That's really interesting, isn't it? And it's not one that uses cameras. It's one that just like refracts the light or whatever. That's actually really cool. So if you put on the riot shield, that material, yeah, it like makes you unable to see the person behind the riot shield. You know, you can tell that there's something behind it, and it's not a real invisibility cloak, but it is kind of cool as, you know, just stopping people seeing through it. All right, Stug. Yeah, M59s aren't particularly good masks, those feeling good, so at least you didn't break something like the XM28 like I did. Yeah, it's about layering, isn't it, Mimi, a lot of times? Like with this, for this sort of temperature, wearing a shirt under it, this is much more efficient than a jumper. But if you, you know, wanted to use this in really cold conditions, you'd wear other layers under it because, you know, that's how layering works. But some people don't seem to get that. They're like, oh, I don't think this piece of clothing would work for this temperatures. It does, as long as you're wearing it in conjunction with the stuff it's meant to be worn with. That's really cool, Iron Man. Right, I might get the foul down in a minute then if a load of people keep asking, but I'll finish my coffee first. I'll also put this filter somewhere so I don't knock it over. That'll do for now. That's cool, Adam. Right, the filter's name, I think, is just something like TFA. There you go. It says TFA there, and it says PE-free, but that means particulate-free, acidic vapor-free rating, like, using the ABEC system. Grater of cheese wants a shout-out. There you go. Grate a lot of cheese in. If you want to get a cheap one, Big Show Kaboom, I'd say any of the old kind of Warsaw Pack steel pots, because a lot of those are like £15 or more, and like £15 is not a lot for a helmet. Well, because it's a brand new modern one, Adam. So you can quite clearly see, if I get this bottom cap off, that it's not like the old filters. And using asbestos, once you've got the machining in place to make modern filters, as in paper heapers, is more expensive, so you wouldn't do it. So yeah, if you have a look at that, you can see, hopefully there, that looks totally different underneath to the older filters. The webcam isn't focusing annoyingly super well, but there we go. You can see it's like a modern plastic and kind of paper heaper looking thing. I like long johns, yeah. I wear those under trousers when it's cold. I like wearing long johns sometimes just if I've had a bath or a shower, and to wear around the house, if I'm going to bed a bit later. Don't breathe through EO16 filters, but they're really cool things. Let's have a look at what merino wool is then. Oh, is it from a certain type of sheep? I've never really watched much anime. I watched a couple of manga films, Weapon Collector, recommended recently, like Akira. But, it depends on how good the individual thing is, really. As in, waterproof to stop the snow getting through, Adam. If they're the waterproof ones, yes. But I don't think Flecktarm would really disguise you in the snow. I don't know about Fallout 4. I know in Fallout 3, there's like a giant Fat Man bomb in Megaton, even though the Fat Man did not have a yield anywhere close to a Megaton. Any war documentaries? Well, there was the one I recommended the other day about the Holocaust, which was called Hitler's Holocaust, which is very bleak and hard to watch, but it was a very good documentary. There's The World at War. That's a very good World War II documentary. There's World War II in colour. There's quite a few good ones. Cleaning stuff from dirt. Can you just use like baby wipes or something like that? With a lot of stuff, you can use baby wipes to just clean them. Yeah, I've got Full Metal Jacket on Blu-ray. Wow, the thing is, Richard, I think Pete should be recommending me a different type of anime, wouldn't he? So not ones to watch for enjoyment of a good film. More like one to watch for a happy ending, wink wink. Canada's made some very good masks, especially like the Air Boss masks, but in terms of overall, Canada hasn't made all that many different types of masks. What type of Pride history sold at? Is it a film? Country of the worst gas masks. As I've said before, I really don't know because lots of countries have made bad masks. You'd probably have to find one of the nations that's only like made one or two masks, and they're all low quality ones. There's some in the background, Josie the cat. You'd have to look at whatever the local asbestos disposal laws are in your country or county or state, Samuel, because it completely depends where you are. In some countries, you're allowed to throw things like that in the regular trash. In lots of countries, that could, potentially get you fined and arrested. I still wouldn't really recommend doing it, that even if it's legal, because you still could potentially expose people to asbestos. You'll have to contact your council, because there was a discussion about this the other day where nobody agreed on anything. But if you look on whatever council website you're in, they'll probably have a guide to disposing of asbestos. Also, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because there's quite a few people on at the moment. But yeah, Definitely agree with that, Iron Man, but most dictators are like that. You know, it's the megalomania, isn't it? Oh, a GP5 you can actually fit in a tiny bag, as I've shown before. It depends if you want something a bit better than that, because a lot of the better masks won't fold up as small as like the Soviet hood masks. The Victorian era was pretty cool, but they were certainly taking a lot of drugs back then, weren't they? You know, slight bit of pain, take morphine. You know, oh, you're feeling a bit tired, take some cocaine. Up to you. Axe side, or however your name's pronounced. It's completely up to you. I mean, the problem is if you remove the hose from a PDF, it's much harder to get them back on again. Right, I'll show you one more time, and then I think you're doing it to be annoying. It is TFA, apparently. There you go, look, TFA filter. All right, cool, Adam. Yeah, that's the annoying thing with that. I'd have got it if it was cheaper, but yeah, if I get one of those, I'll probably try and get one as a complete set, because buying the mask on its own for that price isn't really, you know, that economical. Maybe Canada, Hidden Shadow, because at least I'd know the language and I prefer colder to hotter countries. Well, the current Canadian ones like the C4, yes. In terms of throughout the history of making masks, no, because the Russians and the Soviets have made far more masks throughout history. Yeah, apparently they are, Adam, so that's the thing. I mean, I'd like it as a complete set, but I've seen them for cheaper than that before. Just annoyingly, I've never bought them. That's interesting. I know, yeah, fishermen always used to have wool. You can't get on the Discord unless you donate, Hidden Shadow. This gets asked all the time, and the answer's not going to change because, you know, it'd be unfair for the people who've donated if I start letting anybody in. The thing is, all the Fallout games are basically just set in Americana, kind of fictional America, aren't they? Like an alternative realities, 1950s future tech America. So I don't think Fallout would work somewhere like Chernobyl. I mean, there's a Stalker series that are really good. My very worst gas masks, the Chinese pewter one I have, which folds in on itself and the straps just ping off. That doesn't surprise me, Mimi. Cheers, Game Hunter. If I ever get one, I will review it, but unfortunately, I've never seen them for a good price. Yeah, I've got a green and a blue woolly pulley. I think that's the RAF and the Army one, isn't it? The only country I think you could maybe do an alternative spin-off Fallout game from is maybe like China, after like China was nuked, because obviously in the Fallout universe, the Soviets aren't really a threat. It's the Chinese versus the Americans, isn't it? Mein Deutsch ist nicht gut, Josi. Sprechen Sie English, danke? Ja? No, I think my mum's got Boy in the Striped Pajamas on Blu-ray, but I've never actually watched it. Because the thing is, with a lot of stuff like the Holocaust, I prefer the actual documentaries to the fictionalized films, because I quite often find with a lot of the films, you know, they don't really present the truth very well. Whereas if you watch a really good, hard-hitting documentary, it's far more, you know, thought-provoking than watching a film. Again, I think we have that on DVD or Blu-ray. I've never watched it. Speaking of Chernobyl, I've started looking into booking a holiday there next year now. So when the holiday's booked, I'll let you know. But at the moment, it's contacting different travel companies and saying, are you doing anything in these sort of range of dates? Yeah, Iron Man likes wool blankets survive. There's no rules other than don't be a dick to people, really, Arlen. Because most of the people that get blocked are just insulting me or other people for no reason. But in general, you know, as long as you don't spam the chat with stupid shit, you're nice to people, you'll never have a problem. I don't know if I'll vlog, but I'll certainly take videos and photos. My favourite Soviet gas mask is the Shums, and I don't have one really handy to get out, but I was wearing an MM1 earlier, which is the tank rooms. Oh, that's interesting. You can actually see where a UV lines hit this one. See, that's quite interesting. That's weird, isn't it? But yeah, you can literally see where this was stored somehow, and the sunlight would repeatedly hit the mask there, but not there. But MM1s are the tank crewman masks, so they're quite cool because they're forward-looking and have the voice diaphragm. Right, I'll finish my coffee. It's not quite finished, and then I'll get the foul down if I can reach it properly. Yeah, because that's what they were actually for, wasn't it, rocket refueling, because of how volatile like rocket chemicals are. So you need even more protection than standard masks offers. Yeah, now I've finished my coffee. I'll get the foul down. Right, let's see if I can do this. Oh, knocking absolutely everything over. There we go. They do degrade over time, but it's going to completely depend on how much shooting you do and how much you lubricate it. Also, with crossbow strings, lower draw weight crossbows make the strings last longer. So it's really hard to say. You know, like a couple of hundred shots to a couple of thousand, depending on how often you lube it and the draw weight. Yeah, right arm of the free world. Like my favourite rifle ever. Just because I love these kind of old Cold War classic rifles. Right, Swedish gas masks. At one point, Sweden, I think it was Sweden, had the M51, which was like an American M9 copy. Sweden also had the, I think officially in Sweden it was called the Skydmask 90 or something like that, but it's better known elsewhere as the Fashida F2, and I've got the F2A4 variant. You can take a couple of bits of it off, Jennifer, because where it's deactivated, you can open that bit there, you can get the dust cover off, but that's it. I can get the mag out as well, so hang on a second. But yeah, that's like the extent to what you can strip the foul, because obviously where it's deact, you can't do much with it, because it obviously has to meet the deact standards for whenever it was done. Yeah, it's just because they're like NATO 7.62 mags, Iron Man. No, because this is a deactivated one, Pontus. I mean, I've shot guns before, but obviously not this one. If you have a look at the inside, you can probably see where there's the welds and the, you know, that entire bit there has been welded in. That would be the bit that moves back and forwards, I think, wouldn't it? For the kind of action, like for cycling it. Right, Big Show Kaboom, you're getting your last warning now, because what is in my bloody hand? I really like revolvers, yeah. But yeah, I just really like fouls because of how iconic they are, and, you know, how much of a good rifle it was for every nation that used it. Again, eventually, you know, better rifles came along for different nations, but the foul for years and years was such a, you know, well-made rifle. And the thing people forget about as well is it was fairly cheap, so a lot of nations could afford it. Because with a lot of rifles, they might be better, but often they're, you know, logistically, a lot of nations can't afford them. Whereas, you know, the foul being the right arm of the free world, it was literally called that because, you know, how many Western nations ended up buying them or producing them. There we go. That's closed. Yeah, a live foul is lethal. This would only be lethal if you dropped it on somebody or hit them with it. I don't really know a good way to do it, I'm afraid, Challenger. The only really way you can clean it is maybe put a bit of water with maybe some sort of cleaning alcohol or something in it. It depends what you're using it for, Iron Man. Obviously, 5.56 is better for carrying a lot of ammo, but you know the ammo for the FAL goes further and does a lot more damage to whatever it's hitting. So you know that's the thing with the FAL. Obviously, is yeah, it's heavier than a 5.56 gun, and the ammo's heavier, but it certainly does the job. That's where all the debate comes in. And again, I think lots of these rifles all have their place. It just depends, what and where they're being used for. No, yeah, all FALs are 308 unless there were weird conversions done to them. But yeah, 308 or 7.62 NATO was the standard caliber for it. Originally, it was developed to be 280. No, what was the name of the caliber? Was it 280 British? The same one the EM2 was going to use, but then America screwed that up because basically the story goes that America said, right, everybody in NATO needs to adopt a new gun, and it has to be 7.62 NATO. So where FN and Enfield were developing the 280 cartridge, America said to FN, wow, if you actually make the FAL in 7.62 NATO, tell you what, we'll adopt your gun. So FN rechambered and redesigned the gun for 7.62 NATO. Then the Americans said, actually, it's going to have to go into a weapons trial of the M14. Despite the fact it's doing better than the M14 in the trials, we're still going to the M14. But Forgotten Weapons was saying about that, which is an interesting thing, is if America had gone for the FAL, not the M14, would they have gone with the M16 when they did, or would the entire timeline of weapons developed from that point, just gone completely differently? Bloody is like a very weak swear word in English, so much that I don't think anybody really uses it now if they're swearing. Yeah, but I think he still said, Adam, the FAL was more controllable full auto than some of the other, like 7.62 rifles, like compared to the G3 and some of the others, which is kind of surprising. But again, that's why the British SLRs like this one didn't have a full auto on the fire selector. It's got S for safe and R for repetition, semi-automatic. No full auto on these. How to fix cracked rubber. Silicon lubricant can help, but if the rubber's properly cracked, there's not much you can do. You can get that bicycle tube repair stuff, which is kind of like a rubber glue that goes into rubber and then just seals the cracks. Was that the Rhodesian thing, Ghost Jesus, the Halbeck device? Like the muzzle brake thing? Oh yeah, because it's a gun designed in the 1950s, or might have been gone into design earlier than that. Technically, I guess this is a museum. It's a private museum, but there you go. That clock's still annoying me because I've not corrected it. Oh, they've actually voted it through now, have they? So that means in December, when we're all getting ready for Christmas, we're going to have to go out and vote. But hopefully we can finally sort out this fucking mess in Parliament. I'm going to actually do a political stream on Thursday, like political spooky stream, because that was the day we were meant to leave the EU. And it's Halloween. Not all old filters history sold out. I think all the old Soviet ones apparently had lead in the paint. That's all right, Waste Alone. Don't worry too much about it. I mean, I can't tell you why because I really don't know. But I know a lot of those systems can just be shit where even when people want to donate, they can't because it just won't accept certain cards or bits won't load. You got any NBC suits, Challenger? They'd at least keep you warm. The white gas mask behind me on about the GP5, the PDF, the PTM1, but that's not really a gas mask. It's just a particulate respirator. Well, I have got a German gas mask in this room, weirdly enough. Hang on 1 second. Just leaving the foul there. There's a Draeger M65 there. Well, I can't even legally sell it now, Iron Man, because the deact laws have changed since I bought it, so I'd have to pay hundreds of pounds to have it re-deact, which I'm not doing. I like it as a thing. And I'd rather actually just have a real FAL. And I don't have a UCARA, so I can't even get a realistic imitation firearm airsoft FAL anyway. So, you know, it's a lose-lose scenario for me. I really don't know, Nautilus. Yeah, they can history sold out, but obviously if people start going into really weird things, I just warn them off of it because, you know, if I have a political stream, I still don't want people to start, you know, like talking about racist conspiracy theories or whatever else. You know, people are free to talk about the political parties they like and dislike on those, unlike normal streams, but, you know, I don't want them getting too toxic for people because people from all over the world watch my videos. And, you know, I don't want people being upset in one country because somebody will start going on about how they hate people from whatever country. Oh, thank you very much, Radgar. Okay, so let's read your comment. Also, if you want to join me on Patreon, please post not Patreon. If you want to join me on Discord, please post your Discord ID and I'll add you. Right. So looking at a Maska one Soviet helmet, the big titanium ones, aren't they? On eBay, how it ships from Poland. You mentioned a prior live stream about America customs not allowing military surplus from other countries, though. Right. Okay. So are you in America and you're ordering it from Poland? You should be fine. The problem is, for me, for example, is because I'm outside of America. If I try and order something from America that's covered under one of their arms treaty type things, like a lot of surplus is, US Customs blocks it from coming out. But if you're in America and you're buying surplus from other countries, you should be completely fine because that's the same in here in Britain. For example, if I want to order stuff from other countries, I can normally get it no problem, assuming that the Border Force or like UK Customs doesn't decide to steal it just because the person working there's a dickhead. You know, there's no law stopping you. So hopefully, Radgar, that would answer your question regarding that. So yeah, you should be totally fine. So if the person who's selling it ships it to America, then you should be completely able to, you know, pay the postage and have it arrive no problem. And if it's on eBay as well, you get buyer protection. So if it doesn't turn up, it's the seller's responsibility to sort it out for you. But yeah, if you're ordering like a metal helmet into the US, there should be no problem. I know somebody was saying that there's a bit of a problem in the US buying certain Russian equipment, but I don't think that covers helmets. I think that's just literally like gun parts. Was that trying to buy it from America, Jennifer? Because I know if it's technically they class it as a military scope, then they'll stop people buying it from outside the US. But apparently that's annoying in America because sometimes you can buy like civilian hunting stuff, but the customs person doesn't know that, and they're like, "Oh, this must be a military spec thing." But yeah, as I was saying, because thank you very much for the donation, Radgar. If you do have a Discord, post your ID and then I can add you to the server. Because anybody that donates gets on there. Then if you have further questions, obviously you can just ask people directly on there and you don't have to do a super chat or whatever. Obviously, I always appreciate super chats because that means money that I can put towards stuff. At the moment, Waste Loner, not really that I know of, unfortunately. Because there's obviously super chat and there's Patreon. And through those two methods, I can at least contact people to get their stuff for Discord. Because the thing is, if I could, I would say to anybody that's bought merch from the Teespring thing below that they could, you know, get a Discord invite for that. But annoyingly, there's no way of contacting people through Teespring who have placed an order. You can't see, you know, who's done it. It just tells you like somebody has bought something, and that's it. Was that the one during the Blitz or one of those things who went around killing people? Or was that the one in Australia? But I know there were serial killers, weren't there, and like serial rapists during the sort of like blackouts in Australia and Britain. But yeah, Radgar, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But as far as I'm aware, if you are buying stuff in America, it's fine. It's only for people outside of America trying to buy it.
I think I've seen it from the 13 o'clock podcast episode they did on it, because I think they did one that was in Australia and one that was in Britain, and they were both like quite similar. Obviously, the Australian one was an American soldier who was over there, and he did the crimes, and then obviously on the British one, it was just a British serviceman. What is the tan thing next to the alarm clock? Right, which thing are you looking at? That? Because I can't see anything tan next to that. If you're looking somewhere else in the room, tell me some other items near it. I really like Euroshopper energy drink, but I try not to drink lots of things with high caffeine. But your piss can literally come out like some radioactive green color if you have those Euroshopper energy drinks. Right, I did a video on it the other day. They're called like Liston's Extreme Cold Weather Suits. I'll show you the label inside, so you can see literally everything that's on the label. But as I said, B Store sells them on eBay, and he sent me this one for free to do videos on. My go-to gas mask is my Avon CT12. And in my car, it's my Avon FM12, but I feel chilly now I've taken this off. But yeah, if you want to see the labels, it says bars there. Bars Liston's Travel Extreme, which I guess is Liston's Travel Extreme in English. ImportUA.com. Made in Ukraine on that bit. And then there's these labels here. Don't know why you can see those. And that's like the sizing one. I've got it in 56 to 58, which I assume is centimeters, isn't it, for the chest? No, I don't have a branded version of the M65. I have got two M65 jackets, but I can't remember which brands they are. One is definitely unbranded and just has all the NATO sizing numbers in it, because it's an actual surplus one from some nation that used M65s. The other one is definitely like a fashion company's one, but they've made it to a pretty good standard, and that one's an M81 Woodland. Assuming, Pontus, that you know a gas attack is coming, you put your mask and filter on an NBC suit and hope for the best. You know, evacuate the area as fast as you can with the NBC gear on. Now, for work, I have specific work uniforms. I just like these. The thing is, in my clothing drawer, right? Because the thing is, you might think I've got a polo shirt on, my look posh there, look. There, I've got 95 DPM trousers on. So... if I'm going out somewhere and I want to dress up nice, yes, I will dress up nice. But a lot of the time, I'm just wearing whatever the fuck I find in the drawer that I feel like wearing. With a lot of polo shirts and things, if it was somebody else, if I'm reading this wrong, the reason I've got a lot of polo shirts and that is just because in Primark in the UK and some sports shops, you can buy polo shirts like £1 each, so they're just cheap to buy and they're comfortable. I've not played it, Adam, so no spoilers. But if you ran through the gas with eyes open in real life, it wouldn't work well for you, would it? It for me, I find it weighs it down too much. For some people, they find it fine, but personally, I don't like it because, you know, the weight makes it do that. What's ES? Sorry. How much does ES cost that in there? Yeah, it costs €1.25. What's ES then? Unless I'm being really thick and can't think what you're on about. If it was really good high quality Repro .44, I'd pick .44, but personally I like modern Flecton. My favourite Flecton thing I think I own though is my Belgian Air Force, because for whatever reason the Belgian Air Force used Flecton for a while. Like the Parker they did in Flecton, because it's kind of like an M65 jacket, you know, really good pockets, it keeps you nice and warm, you can take the liner out or whatever if you want to. But it's the really bright Flecton, you know, where like the red in it is almost orange rather than being brown. The green is like a neon green, so it really kind of breaks up the form quite well with it because the colours contrast so highly. A 4 of clubs. Or is that just like a card to have on you during some sort of shit hits the fan thing, Ghost Jesus? But no, I don't have specifically a 4 of clubs card that's not in a playing deck. Well, the thing is, when people say this bioweapon or, you know, chemical weapons or nukes are worse, I think they're all pretty terrible if you're going to get killed by them. I mean, a bioweapon that kills you over the course of a week or two in agony would be the worst, yeah. But in theory, you know, if the world ended due to, you know, mutually assured destruction with chemical weapons, mutually assured destruction with nukes, or a bioweapon getting out of control, it wouldn't really make a difference in the end, would it? Now, there is gas masks with camo on them. Like, hang on, let me just pop this back on so I get warm back up again, because as I said, I've not got the heating on in here. So I'll pop this back on. Oh, if I can get my arm in. So yeah, there's this one, which is a Russian ROU respirator, which is the one where they actually built the charcoal and everything into the mask itself. So this is technically a camo mask. There's also the Australian ALAGs from World War II, as in the Australian like anti-gas respirators. They did some of those in their own camo scheme, but most countries don't bother. Most countries seem to either do gas masks in grey sort of white colour, black, or sometimes green. So I guess you could say green's a bit more camo. That French Foreign Legion mask I've got's in tan, so that's good, because that's at least, you know, another colour that's not as obvious as black or white. So was that an advert then, Ranger, for coffee or for a rifle? Or because I don't know which one it is. Is that the one where you're the guy who has like the mutations, and it's a bit like that one that was on PS3, which I can't remember, Infamous? Is it the one a bit like that? It's kind of like you're a superhero, supervillain kind of one. You can get gas masks on eBay, Pontus, some on Amazon, some from places like Wish and all that other stuff. Well, nuclear bombs don't actually contain TNT, but in terms of explosive equivalent of TNT, they have a lot of TNT, yeah. As in, the first nuclear bomb dropped in war, not Trinity that was tested, but as in Little Boy dropped on Hiroshima, that was about 15 or 16 kilotons. So essentially 15,000 tons of TNT. Then you get megatons. So like Castle Bravo, for example, America tested was a 15 megaton bomb. So 1,000 times the power of Little Boy dropped on Hiroshima. So it's quite hard to even imagine, isn't it? 15 million tons of explosive. Normally about an hour or just over. Depends on how good the conversation is towards the end of the stream. All right, because you're a different person, WJC, I will actually tell you, because somebody else earlier just kept asking the question over and over again after I'd shown him. It is a TFA PE-free filter, apparently. But if this was like the brown one, it would be a PA-free. If it was the grey one, it would be a PB-free. If it was the green one, it would be a PK-free, because P is the particulate, and then that's like the bit from ABEX. So this one's for acid vapor, although it'll work against other things, but in general, most people could do with getting the organic or inorganic vapor one. It's just this was the only one I saw at the time on there for about £10. I thought, yeah, I'll get that. Yeah, they could be Challenger. Have you seen the Brent video where he tests 44 dot and it works really, really well? But yeah, a lot of German World War II camos are really good. I just think it's for, like, you know, political reasons they're not used, because apparently a lot of countries opposed Germany going back to Flecktarn, even though it was redesigned Flecktarn in the 80s, because they said it was too Nazi-ish and it was an aggressive camo, whatever the bloody hell that means. The thing is, if a camo's good, it's good, really, I think. You know, as long as you're using it in the environments it's intended for. If you had modern uniforms printed in an old camo pattern, they'd still work as well as they did at the time. Most of them will last longer than that origami, but it depends what they're exposed to. A filter like this, if you were using it, would last more than 30 minutes, assuming the gas concentration wasn't really, really high. Some filters are meant to last about 24 hours in NBC environments, but again, it's going to depend how fast you're breathing, what kind of gas is around. Oh, that's cool, Ranger. That's kind of relevant, at least for the videos, isn't it? If it's that kind of thing, because these are all about milcert. I don't have a Belgian M34, but let me Google it, Bartos, and tell you what I think from just looking at a picture of it. I've got an M51 that's showing up for some reason when I search that. But on Google Images, I'm not really seeing anything that's that mask. What does it look like then? Because I've got a Belgian L702, and I've got a like French C38, but I don't recognize that M34. I've got it on my Steam library origami, and I've never played it because I bought it in the sale, and I've never got round to installing it. Right, I'm glad you liked the video, 666. Yeah, it fits on the GP5 because I was wearing it on the MM1 earlier, which is the same style, you know, GOST thread as a GP5. But yeah, Chinese filters are generally GOST or normalized. Probably built in a 1950s history sold out. Oh, see you if you're off, Rich. I think Mike said he's probably not going to be on tonight. He didn't 100% confirm that, but he didn't think he'd be on anything tonight because he said a friend was visiting him. Yeah, so for the people interested in the merch, there's a mug. If you're interested in the merch, thank you for reminding me, Ghost Jesus. There's a Teespring below. As in before, cause I keep thinking I'll shave it this week, but I've got quite a busy week this week, so I don't know if I'll actually get time this week. I might have time Thursday night. But for the last couple of years, I generally shave my hair every like month or 2 months. When did I reach 62k subs? Let me look on my analytics and I will tell you. Right. Subscribers. And they've changed how this all works, haven't they? Subscribers, right. How do I see the accumulative dose of subscribers on here? Cumulative dose, like radiation. If I do lifetime, will it then let me see? Is there a way of setting it to accumulate on there? I don't know. But I can check Social Blade, although their stats aren't very accurate anymore because YouTube doesn't report directly to them. Apparently I hit 62k last Thursday. And I'm on about 62,200 at the moment. That's interesting, Bartos. Didn't know that. Name sounds familiar, DelRP. I'm probably subscribed to him because if his history videos, I think he's been recommended to me a lot before I've subscribed. Because YouTube is YouTube, yeah, I am subscribed to him. When his videos come out, they never notify me, even though I've set it up to be notified because YouTube. That's interesting, Survive. Well, I mean, it would certainly prevent a lot of problems, wouldn't it, Nautilus, if everybody had one? But it's like a lot of things. Everybody should have a first aid kit, you know, all those sort of things, not just a gas mask. But I think there's a level of, if everybody had a certain level of equipment and knew how to use it, it would probably, you know, be safer for a lot of people because you'd generally be able to have more people helping each other. Yeah, at the moment, Ghost Jesus, it's going all right. The problem is with YouTube, it totally depends if YouTube wants to share the videos and notify people, you know, that have subscribed to you that your videos are live. Because some days I can do a stream or put a video on, the notification obviously doesn't go out because barely anyone clicks on it. And then people said, why didn't you upload a video today? So there's always that. But at the moment, I've got quite a lot of content I need to get filmed because B-Store sent me all that stuff and he's sending me some more stuff soon. And I've got other stuff, you know, I've bought and I've not done videos on yet. So I've got a lot of content I can actually be pumping out at the moment, but I still like to try and keep it to a schedule rather than, you know, trying to put loads of videos up in a single week. I think it probably would challenge one if it's big enough because the Stauhelm's a similar enough shape that I imagine if you got a large cover for a Stauhelm, it would fit Paskets fairly well. For the streams, Hidden Shadow, or for my regular videos? Nightbot is a thing that you can have installed, and I don't have Nightbot on my channel, but Weapon Collector's got on his where it can like randomly just post in the chat for you. Well, as I've said before, history sold out. It completely depends. At the moment, I could afford to if I'm rent sharing with friends. The issue is most of them don't want to move out at the moment, or they can't afford to. So, appreciate that. Let me get you added on Discord now, so I can sort that out for you. Give me a second. What I have to do is add you to my friends list, and then as soon as you're on my friends list, I can invite you into the server. So, friends, add friend. Thank you, because you actually gave me your name correctly, where some people say put me on there and then they don't give me the name correctly. So as soon as you accept that, let me know. And then what I will do is I will invite you. Because I think if I send you an invite before you accept it, it won't actually work. Like, it just doesn't give you the invite. But yeah. So at the moment, you should have a pending friends request from me. You should recognize me from the picture. And then as soon as you've done that, what I can do is invite you to the server through right-clicking on your name. Yeah, that's the idea, Ghost Jesus, is basically, because I do videos about a month in advance, the idea is if I'm ill, thanks, it says you've accepted it, I'll just invite you into the server. There you go, invite to server, weapons and stuff, 93, invite sent, there you go. Yeah, the issue is that you do it via Super Chat or Patreon's the easiest way, Origami. I really like the Avon FM12, as I've said many times. So I assume most people can still see a stream. Can they? Did it cut out for a couple of people? What was I going to say? Yeah, the reason I do videos for like a month in advance is if I'm ever ill or my internet goes down or I have computer problems, I don't have to worry about, getting a load of videos out. And it's also because some weeks I might have more times to do, videos than others. So depending on what's going on in that regard, keeping around a month in advance makes sense for me, because that means get 3 videos filmed a week, and do them on there, because I don't like to go too long over a month, because if I do that I start normally cocking shit up on the YouTube like uploading thing, or I'll upload 2 videos of the same date or whatever. But yeah, for when you asked about the webcam I use or whatever, I've got a Logi webcam. I can't remember the model of it, but it's the popular one with Twitch streamers. Not that I use Twitch other than watching Weapon Collectors stuff, but it's the model that kind of everybody buys for that, just because it's generally a pretty good webcam. For my camera I use for the regular videos, this Sony Handycam, but this is a pretty obsolete model now, so you can get better ones than this. But I think the next camera I get, camcorder, I won't get a Sony one. I might go for a Canon, because I've had some problems with that Sony one. Yeah, I mean, the first thing I'd probably buy, if I could buy one really easily without jumping through a load of hoops for a firearm certificate, would probably be a Ruger 1022, just because it'd be cheap to practice with. Yeah, you can breathe through it without a filter, which is totally safe if you just want to wear it cosmetically. In terms of what it feels like on your face, you know what a rubber glove feels like on your hand? It sort of feels like that, but a mask on your face. That's the only way I can really explain it, to be honest. I'd imagine thousands of pounds over the years history sold at. So don't let that addiction take over you either. It should be like a video, like where people are saying, I'm addicted to heroin, I'm addicted to alcohol. This man is addicted to gas masks. He can't get enough. They're destroying his life. I'd prefer to get the British version of the Maxim gun, the Vickers gun, because at one point they didn't they fire like 10 million rounds through a single Vickers gun to see how many they could do before the gun burnt out, just swapping the barrels and continuously water cooling it. And in the end, they just literally got bored because they were going through all their ammo and they couldn't get it to malfunction. Ruger 1022s are just very good guns for the price, because they're not very expensive, and they're just very good to practice with, which is why most people in America recommend it as like one of your first guns, because you learn how to shoot properly with a 22 rifle essentially, or a 22 rifle, whatever you want to call it, and then you go up to the more expensive calibers, more powerful guns. It was on eBay. I don't know if it was listed under its name. I think it was probably just called something weird like gas spray paint, refillable, you know, all those buzzwords they put on it, filter, but it turned up just on my recommended for once, and it was actually something that I was interested in. But I think people are saying they're on Wish and AliExpress as well. No, AK-74 is a different caliber. That's the main difference anyway. AK-74 is 545 by 39. AK-47 AKM is 762 by 39. Yeah, the thing is, like, I've watched a lot of, you know, videos just like Hickok and like Paul Harrow, and everybody seems to like Ruger 1022s that does a lot of shooting. I guess it's just because they're good enough for what they are and they're not very expensive. You know, Ruger 1022s are very popular over here with people that actually have firearms certificates. Yeah, like Jennifer was just saying, they're only £300-ish over here. You know, I could literally go out and buy one right now if I had a firearm certificate, but I don't. And as I've said before to people, the reason I don't really want an FAC is I don't have anywhere I can actually go shooting. There's not many gun clubs near me anymore, unfortunately. The only one I know of near me is like for kind of like really fancy target shooting kind of ones, you know. There used to be a historic rifle club not too far from me, but they've closed down sadly, because I would have actually been interested in getting an FAC if that was still around, you know, like musket shooting and Lee Enfield shooting. What is my favourite revolver? Well, bear in mind I've not shot any, but out of lots and lots of revolvers that you can get at the moment, or I don't know if they still make them, things like the Colt Python, I really like the look of those, and I like a lot of 357s. In terms of historical revolvers, maybe the Webley service pistol. Weapon Collector recently made me one survive, which I'll be getting from him when I visit him soon again. Not loads gas mask guy, but guess what? I could put this mask on, couldn't I, with the hood and everything. See what it looks like with this. Might work quite well with it, actually. Let's have a look. Let me just undo the straps a second. And now I'll just zip this back up again. I need to undo the hood, won't I, before I put that back up. Where's the thing for undoing the hood? Oh, I'm doing the wrong bit, aren't I? That's why. There we go. Yeah, I've played the old Wolfenstein 3D, you know, the really old one. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. That Wolfenstein most people didn't like that came out in like 2009 or whatever it was. The New Colossus or whatever it was called. Or, was it New Colossus? The New Order? The one that came out, Bethesda did, and then the Old Blood for that, and then I haven't played any of the ones after that. If you wondered why I just did a funny noise, it's because one of the valves just hit me in the nose. This isn't an NBC suit, it's a cold weather suit, if that's what you're saying. Yeah. I won't put the GP5 on because it's up on the wall, but what I will do is I will put on the MM1 again with the stupidly big filter, because that's at least a grey Soviet mask. I think I'd be shit with one survive, but it would be interesting, but I'll have to practice with the slingshot weapon collectors done for me first, and then I can think about doing other slings. The problem is my garden's not really big enough to do a big sling sort of thing. There's also sling staffs, aren't there, which are the ones you do like that with, which are quite interesting. So yeah, for the people asking, yes, this definitely screws into GOST threads on masks. There we go. Right. Just get this central again. need to undo the straps a bit more first. That's the problem, because you can pull it off while you've got the straps tightened, but it's very hard to get on. Because the problem with MM1s, it's not really a problem, is it's got that weird strap system where all the straps connect to the bottom two straps. It's the same thing the GP4 did, where it's quite practical because you can tighten the entire mask just by tightening two straps, but it means you kind of have to reset the strap every time you take it off. And sometimes it will do this where the straps really don't want to pull through. Come on. Right, that's that undone. So there you go. You can see now that there's loads of play in it because, yeah, I was saying it's a weird strap system on this where the only straps you really adjust are the bottom ones. So I'll get that on and centralised. There we go. And now get that tightened up. Tell you what I'll do, let me just stand back a bit and I'll show you with the flare through the webcam again how well these suits work. So bear in mind, I'll just pull this way so you can see a bit better. Bear in mind I have not done the hood up, so let me just do that up. But this should show you how well these suits block the heat again. Just because that does really impress me with these, how well these bar suits trap the heat in. So let's get this hood nice and tight. Even I'm cooking in this thing now because I've got used to the room's temperature. Right. These are just a little bit awkward to do sometimes, these bits. So there we go. That's what I'm meant to be doing. Pulling that bit there. Now that's that side done up. Come on. As soon as I get that bit, it'll be alright. There we go. Get my finger through there, and that's pretty tight. Right. The hood isn't totally done up properly, because obviously it's not designed to fit with this mask. But if I put the colours back to white hot, there we go. Right, if I hold my hand up here, hopefully you should see the difference in temperature with how well this suit blocks the body heat. Might be easier if I show you on one of the coloured things, actually. Hang on. Okay, so this is the one where orange is the hottest colour now. Hang on. And again, the flare is very hard to show for the webcam. But hopefully you can see most of my body is the white colour where the hands were orange. So yeah, this does hide you from a flare. Because just to quickly show you, if I get this off again. Now, if I show you my face with the flare, you'll see how massively different it looks. Let me just turn that back on. And I'll be off in a few minutes because I'm quite overheating now with all this on. Right, see what my face looks like there? It's literally like white and orange hot, if I can get that back in frame. So yeah, normally people look kind of like that under the flare, but with this thing on, obviously there's the side of my head. If I put the hood back up and get that back on, you should hopefully see that the hood, although the hood's getting warm because obviously it's been on in this room in the heat for a while, does give you an idea of just how good these things are at trapping your heat and why you overheat so horribly in them if you're not using them in, you know, cold weather like you're meant to. So yeah, working well, Daniel, thank you. Only if I knew it was coming, Pontus, because if you didn't know it was coming, it would get you, wouldn't it, regardless? What, because it makes you orange? I do the best gas masks, folk. Nobody does gas masks better than me. I gotta tell you, real winner at gas masks. Yeah, the thing is with the suit, if you had it on outside in the cold, it would be even better, because the outside of the suit would be cooling down. I think the issue is here, because I've got the lights on and the room's heating up now, I think the outside of the suit is warming up as well. And that's not necessarily totally from body heat. Some of that is just picking up the room temperature. Right, what was the filter called again? I can't even remember off the top of my head, which is bad, isn't it? But it's a TFA PE-free. But yeah, all clothing will eventually allow a bit of heat through, because I think it's pretty much impossible to make something that's totally, 100% traps the heat in. But yeah, these work pretty damn well. Well, what they call them, I think, is the bars suits, because I've always called them the List-Ons Extreme, but apparently bars is actually like the name they're calling them now. They're a bit like Gorka suits. So yeah, B-A-R-S, bars. Yeah, let me get that off now because I'm getting really hot. But yeah, the nice thing is, because you can get these in camo, obviously, I think they would be quite good for evasion, because they hide your thermal thing quite well. And, as well as hiding your thermals, they've actually got a camo pattern on the outside, and you can get them in different camo patterns, so you just go for whatever one you want. So, yeah. Yeah, bars, as you can see on the inside there as well. But yeah, the problem is, unless you're wearing them in really cold conditions, even if you're just wearing a t-shirt under them, you will overheat. If you know what it's like wearing an NBC suit for an extended period, imagine something like that, but that keeps you even warmer. So yeah, B-Store's got them. I'm not sure if he's got them on B-Store or B-Store 2 on his eBay page, but I can link you if you like. Let me have a look. There we go. Right. So yeah, he should hopefully have them on here. But yeah, because he sent me that one to do a review on, and then obviously, like I've said before, he sends me stuff for free, and then it's in the hope that people watch my videos on it, and if they like the stuff, want to buy it. Because yeah, some people going, oh, it's like a scam because he's sending Liam stuff for free, and that's why he gives them good reviews. It's like, I've not made it, I've never hidden the fact he sent me stuff for free. The same as any things that want to do sponsorship. If any other surplus seller wanted to send me something for review, I'm never going to say anything that's crap is good. But most people, know if they send somebody a good product, they'll say, this is what it does. Yeah, it does it pretty well. Here's a link where you can buy it, and then it works. But yeah. But if it's not on that one, it will be on his other account, Gabriel. But yeah, they're normally about 70 quid, I think. But they come with the trousers as well, not just that top bit. I did a video on it the other day. Because I've had one for like a couple of years. He sent me years ago. But this is like the newer, better tech ones. But there's the trousers. So they do up, and then you put this on top. And then, yeah, they trap loads of heat inside. So, yeah. Like, out of all the cold weather gear I've got, that keeps me warmer than anything else. So, yeah. I mean, they're fairly expensive, but they're not if you think what some, camping shops would. Let's have a look, for example. I'm just quite interested. Go Outdoors. Let's have a look on Go Outdoors, because that's one of the UK's kind of, big things. Let's go on men's. And then insulated jackets, would it be? I'm trying to think which thing they'd put them under, but... All right. Men's Valiant's waterproof down jacket is £279. But lots of these jackets like £100 to the £300 mark, basically. There are some that are in the 50s, but yeah, that's kind of my point, is for getting both the trousers and the top for 70 odd quid with those, that isn't actually too bad, especially when you know how good they are. But yeah, if you're on about military surplus kind of clothing, just go on eBay, look up any kind of mil-surp from any nation you want and get that. That would be good for airsofting, better than buying all the, made for airsoft crap that's mil-surp stuff but more expensive and less durable. Oh yeah, some of the Jack Pike stuff I think they sell at Decathlon. I've bought some Jack Pike air rifle targets before. Let me see if they do a like similar jacket to that, just to get an idea like what their price range would be for it. Because Jack Pike's more like a budget-y thing, isn't it? But some of their stuff is quite good. I think the Ukrainian army uses that stuff, not necessarily in that camo pattern, but right, Jack Pike products, clothing, outwear. I assume it would be jackets, wouldn't it, rather than gilets, but I assume it would be like the hunter's jacket or the Rannoch jackets on here, which are like 58 to sort of £90, but then bear in mind that's just the jacket and not the trousers. But yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can use a lot of that stuff for multiple purposes. But yeah, the reason I really like those is I think if you're ever homeless or something, that would be a really good thing to sleep in because of how well they trap the heat. But, you know, the nice thing of those is if you're going outside and it's cold, and it's not really cold, you can just wear a couple of layers under it, or like, you know, just a shirt and like a vest and, you know, pants or whatever. If you're going out and it's really cold, you could then layer up, you know, like underwear, like long johns, trousers, you know, vest, shirt, you know, jumper, and then that. But yeah, anyway, I'll be off in a minute because I've been on for an hour and 17 minutes. So thank you very much for the guy that donated all that money for me. And yeah, I hope you answer this question. I've invited him to the Discord server now. I really appreciate that because with $25, with the amount I get from YouTube from that, I can actually probably buy a gas mask with that. So I will post when I know what I've actually bought with it. But at the moment, I've not seen any new masks popping up on eBay. But I did have this arrive obviously today, which cost about £10. So let me just dismantle this from the mask a second and reseal it. But yep, so I'll be doing a proper video on this at some point. How's that pronounced then? Dobranok? Is it like that? Or have I completely butchered that? But yeah, I will let you know what I end up getting further down the road, but I'll always be doing videos on that sort of stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. It's been a really good stream. I'm probably, because I don't think Weapon Collector's on, Auf Wiedersehen, I can say that one, because I don't think Weapon Collector's going to be on tonight, I'll probably end up playing some of that Spyro Reignited trilogy I bought last night. And haven't played yet today, even though it finished installing earlier. That was an MM1 I was wearing earlier, if that was the one you meant, as in Soviet MM1 tank crewman's gas mask. Oh, cool. Watch your new video about Peach, because I don't think YouTube's notified me that you've made one, which is typical. Yep. Tomorrow evening, I won't be doing a stream tomorrow evening, because I'm out for like a birthday meal. It was my birthday last week, but some of my family wanted to go out, and we couldn't do it last week, so we're doing it this week. But I might be able to stream in the afternoon or something, but it won't be in the evening. I'm streaming anyway tomorrow. So I'll see anybody that's on when I happen to stream, but I can't tell you what the time will be yet. Right, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching, and see you all tomorrow or whenever. Right, goodbye.